everything is always in its place and everything is always falling in place. And the only thing that takes things out of the place where they are supposed to be is the mind. Because of its constant restlessness, chattering, the need to do things, the patterns it follows, it's actually putting things out of place. So, in the whole game of consciousness, everything is in place to begin with. And in the present moment, everything is being put in place. So, which is what is the whole idea of perfection, no? But what is causing the chaos and the disorder and the restlessness and the agitation is actually the mind. With its own plans, with its own way of thinking, with its own filters through which it is receiving, with its own reactions coming from instincts. And that's all. So when the mind rests, perfection exists. And that's why, and that's a big thing actually, is an observation, that at all times through the journey and at every day, every moment, you see how everything falls in place effortlessly. Just the perfect car parking, just the perfect time to walk, just the perfect time to reach the cafe, just the perfect food to eat, just perfectly seeing that there is a garden which says the circle of completing the circle of life. And just the moment we want to cross towards that is when all the cars stop. How does that happen? And how does a seagull just come in and starts to play with you, just that one around you? What is it recognizing? So if you are truly aware, you will find that during the day there were at least 20, 30, 40 things where everything was happening. But you're not fully, we're not, grasping them fully because the mind is somewhere, in its own chatter. But if you look at it, perfection is everywhere. And if it isn't, your acceptance makes it perfect. And lack of acceptance is mind. It's the struggle of the mind. So these are very important reflections to understand and to work upon. So which means really, it's not what you have to now do that you have to decide as your next plan of action. It's a list of things that you have to stop doing, that you're constantly been doing. Also, it may be worthwhile for you to also contemplate upon, if you think it is important for you, is to see that whenever you ask a question, or anybody else asks a question, from where does this knowledge flow through? You said, oh, that example was a perfect example. And and the vision it is showing you is so profound. But where did it come from? Because I've never used that example before. How does it come in that moment? From where does this knowledge come from? From where does it flow so effortlessly? That you can, it will flow even when you're driving and when you're concentrating on the road and when you're concentrating on everything else. And yet in that moment also it comes through. Certainly it doesn't come from memory. So Please reflect and contemplate. All of you should do that. What is that? Where all this is stored? And how easily can he access it? And at not one time of the day, where it is flowing as effortlessly. How is that possible? What is this 24/7 available that you can just tap into it? It just keeps coming. So, if you contemplate on this, if you go deeper in this, maybe some gems will come to you and you will realize, oh my God, this is. Because these are the examples that, there is another dimension, there is another field, there is somewhere where everything is available. Otherwise, it's not humanly possible, is it? So let that inspire you. Let that motivate you. That I must also know this. I must also experience this. I must also tap into it. Let that be what you should work towards. So when you have to stop using your mind, you're not going to lose anything. You're not going to lose control of your life. Things are not going to suddenly go awry for you, and your life is not going to turn upside down into a mess. Because that's what the mind will tell you. It says, what are you doing? Are you mad? But you will know now that, oh, there is something. I've experienced it firsthand. I participated in it. It's not that I've heard from somebody else. And I too want it. And unless the yearning is really strong and unless you want to taste it, you will not go for it. You will fall at the first step. Because I've heard many times this whole, talk about surrender, and it hasn't fallen. But I know in less than 24 hours it'll run away. So unless you have an ideal to work on, unless you have something you have seen and said, okay, this is it, what I want. There has to be something which visibly moves you and, you say, okay, I too want to taste this.